Hello and welcome to Two Therapists and a Microphone. I am Dr. Harrison Davis.
And I'm Dr. Aisha Dickerson.
Two Therapists and a Microphone is a podcast show about mental health issues, relationship issues, and social issues that personally affect you. We broadcast live every Monday evening at 7 o'clock p.m. on the Our Black Media Network.
We are two licensed psychotherapists with decades of clinical experience, and we want to hear from you. We want you to tell us about any situations or dilemmas that you're going through. So please send us your questions by visiting www.twotherapist.com and click on Ask Two Therapists at the top of the page.
Absolutely. Ask a professional. That's what I like to tell people. Ask somebody who knows what they're talking about. But before we start, I just want to offer my condolences to you, Dr.
Thank you. I
Aisha, for the loss
appreciate
of your
that.
stepfather. And I hope you're doing well. You look like you're doing well. It's good to see your smile again.
I know. It wasn't there for a minute, but grief is a thing. It'll come and go. I do appreciate your condolences and others. So all of you have reached out to me. Thank you for that as well.
So today we're talking about hot topics, and this is something that Dr. Aisha and I do every now and then. She doesn't know my topics. She doesn't, and I don't know hers. But I'm gonna give you the opportunity, Aisha, to go ahead and present your topic for today's show.
Okay, so my topic actually comes from my teenager. She's a senior, and she's been recently sending me a lot of different news stories about, I guess, what they're calling Jim Crow 2.0,
Okay.
and all of these laws that are being passed in the southern states. Now, we live in the southern state. Any of you who are in, I know a lot of our listeners are in the Atlanta metro area and Savannah area.
Yep.
We know that once you get out of those areas, it's no longer Black Mecca. You are right back in the South. You don't want to make left turns. And I was just having this conversation with a white male last week about how this is something we have to look at when we visit a place. Is it 85% white and 0.3% Black? Well, now we have to make sure we drive straight through, or we only come in the daytime. And we like to believe that these sundown laws don't exist anymore. But the truth is, even I have been followed by white men in trucks before and cussed out just for being who I am or driving a nice
Wow.
car. I
I,
remember when, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just about to interject just to support that
Uh-huh.
statement. I'm from Atlanta, grew up in Atlanta, still live in the area. And I have to tell all the newcomers, Atlanta's Atlanta, but when you leave the suburbs of Atlanta, you're in Georgia.
Okay.
And people sometimes forget about that and believe that the rest of the state is like Atlanta. I mean, it's a rural southern state. We got
Hmm.
some cities, Columbus, Macon, and Savannah, but still they're not Atlanta. So what you just described is what I've been telling people for decades. Don't leave 285 and think you're going to
Mm-mm.
stay in Atlanta. Things change very quickly when you leave that 5 county area we call Metro Atlanta.
Right. I even visited Athens for the first time a couple of weeks ago. And outside of the people who were in the city for a volleyball tournament, I saw two Black people. One of them was probably a student. The students were out for spring break, who was still there working. And the other one was a homeless man. And
Hmm.
every time I walked into a nice restaurant, everybody was looking at me. Why are you looking at me? Like, I
Clark
cannot not
County.
sit down and eat. And are the only Black people you all see the students, especially the student athletes who were there? They were all surprised to see. Well, I mean, I guess I was decent. I'm usually decent looking when I'm out on the weekend, but
But
a
you
decent
felt it.
looking older Black woman during spring break. They probably thought they had gotten rid of all of them for the week.
Well,
But
that
here
is
I am.
Clark County, and there are a few Black folks there.
Mhm.
But the university is really UGA is the biggest thing in the county,
Right.
and they have their own community. But what you experience is what a lot of people feel. When they leave the Atlanta area, and sometimes you get some looks depending
Yeah.
on where you are.
So, based on these news stories, it has me thinking about, well, more about our elected officials and the power that they have. There's been a lot of stuff in the news about Biden making the call to give, what was it, release or forgive some student loans. It was an
Yep.
executive decision, but now we're looking at some of the other executive decisions made in states, like in Florida, where what's his name? DeSanto. It's not worth me
DeSantis,
knowing his name. Whatever his name is,
Mentos,
whatever,
but
whatever him. Okay, whatever his name is, he is using his power to appoint a lot of different people to positions where things are going to be taken away. I know he appointed a new board to that very diverse school. I can't remember the name of it, but it's really small.
Florida.
Yes, yes. And so it's known for being a safe space for the LGBTQ plus community, but they've come in and they started firing instructors and yeah, they started firing people, social justice warriors. I
Yep.
got a message last week about them wanting to get rid of any organizations that focus on diversity
Yep.
or are made for different races, which means that Black Greek letter organizations, such as the one that I'm in, would no longer be allowed on certain college campuses. So if you wanted to go to Florida State, the University of Florida, and pledge any of those Black Greek organizations, Latinx Greek organizations, Indian organizations, they might not be available to you in any
So
other Florida colleges.
So you are correct. There are two bills, two state bills in Florida. DeSantis is really pushing one of them to eliminate all diversity programs at the
Mm,
universities, the state-funded
yeah.
universities, and these are special student support services, designed to help various students, to meet their needs. And if they continue, even a chief diversity officer position,
Yeah.
they're not going to receive funds. And then that second bill is the one you just mentioned that was introduced by a state legislator to remove or to not condone any student organization that is designed for a specific group of individuals, which includes the Black Greek organizations. The Divine Nine is the term people like to
Hmm.
use. So yeah, those things are under attack. I never pledged or anything. I'm not a member of them. Did not go to a HBCU, but I sure do support people's right to join. One of the Black Greek organizations, and now we have a legislator, someone who was voted into office,
Yeah.
making decisions for students and whether or not they can have Greek organizations on their campus. So these are huge proposals.
Well, the thing about it is, none of these organizations deny membership to people based on their race. I have a few sorority sisters who I know personally who are not African American. They have no African descent. And I've met a few white ones in other places. But I know a lot more about the history of some of these white Greek letter organizations, some who are very well connected to the KKK, those who have made sure historically that they keep people of color out of their organizations and
Yeah, it was
have even
part of
been
their
taken to
charter.
court. Right, exactly. Have been
No,
taken to court to
no, no
make them take
Negroes
people.
allowed. Yeah, it's a part of their charter when they first started. Absolutely.
Yeah. So my organization doesn't say no whites allowed.
Yeah, I wasn't
So-
aware of any of the Black Greeks that put some type of restriction on it, besides male and female. But there's someone in Florida, legislator in Florida. He wants to remove. He said it was too divisive having organizations designed for particular cultural ethnic groups. But this includes women, like law school women groups,
yeah. Hmm.
Hispanic and business groups. But the big spotlight is on the Black Greek organization. So you're right. Who you vote for matters.
Yeah. And from what another one she sent me has to do with Mississippi, where they are looking at appointing more judges instead of having only elected judges. They're thinking they
Oh,
should appoint judges to help cut down on the dockets that are in Jackson, Mississippi. And the people who are proposing this are white legislators who do not live in Jackson, Mississippi, which, in case you're not aware, it is majority African American. They are, running their city. And here come the white legislators who are in the neighboring counties, like, hey, we need to get y'all some appointed judges to help you go ahead
handpicked.
and arrest your people. And so the legislators who were voting on, who were in Jackson, are kind of like, stay out of our business. Stop trying to come over here and put your people in our positions and lock our people up. It's you just gotta pay attention to
I
voting
didn't
more,
know
y'all.
about that one. So they're
Mhm.
trying to take over the city,
Yes, they are.
although they don't live there, and there are
Mhm.
appointed I'm sorry, elected
Yes.
officials in the city, but other folks saying, no, you can't elect your own leaders. We're going to
Right.
tell you who's going to lead. That is classic. That
They
is
are coming
classic.
in trying to take stuff over. So stay woke, y'all.
Absolutely. I got one more to add to that list too, because I'm just
Okay.
familiar with it. In the state of Texas, university search committees. You've done search committees
Yes, I
before.
have.
And it is common to ask for, depending on the position, high-ranking level position, to ask for a diversity statement
Mm-hmm.
from the candidates. And in the
Mm.
state of Texas, it was something they did, and some of the candidates who did not get the positions that they wanted have sued. And the governor of Texas, Abbott, I believe is his last name, he put into law a new measure, executive order, where the universities cannot ask a candidate about their philosophy or stance on diversity, equity, inclusion. You cannot use information from a diversity statement or philosophy to decide whether or not the person should get the job unless it is directly related to his or her position, like a chief diversity officer. And
Oh,
so that has gained a lot of steam. A vice president of student affairs, VP of academic affairs, provost, you just, or department head, where half the students may be majoring in that subject, may be Black or Hispanic. During the search process, you cannot request information about their stance on
that's
diversity,
ridiculous.
equity, inclusion, because some people didn't like it that they were made to do it, and believe that's the reason why they didn't get the job. So Governor Abbott, who is a Republican, stepped in and said, "Okay, I'm going to pull the carpet on this," and he has the power to do that. And so that is a new issue that just happened about a couple of weeks ago too.
Yeah.
The,
So
the
then
attacks are real.
right. But then the question is, how do we handle that? Do we take away any executive privilege? Because if that's the case, we would have to take away some of Biden's too. That's
I,
that's what the Republicans are saying. Well, Biden gets to come in and just make stuff happen. These Republican governors should be able to also.
I believe in the power of the ballot. And something I heard Andrew Young say back in the 80s, when I was just learning about politics and elections: vote for the people who have your back.
Hmm.
Vote for the people who will help you, not the neighboring county, not the neighboring city, or they sound good and they look good. You need to know how they're going to help you. And so I believe in finding a candidate in Texas who will go. That doesn't matter who they are, but if they're going to stand for you and make sure you're protected and allow you to ask about a candidate's diversity philosophy, you should go and vote for them. That's what I
Yeah.
believe in. Vote them out of office. That's what I say. But you got to go vote.
Okay, that part. And there are still a lot of people who just don't vote. I've talked
Yeah,
to a few of my clients who are like, "What's the point? Can you not see what the point is yet?" I've talked to a lot of people in the military who say they don't vote. There are, and I had to look up the research on that. Almost half of people in the military don't even vote,
I think the
and
country
they have,
too.
and the president and all of them have all the say so when it comes to you and your life and your family.
Yeah, yeah.
You
So
should care the most.
yeah, and because people don't understand the far reach that these politicians have. Don't forget, it was Trump who appointed three members of the Supreme Court
Okay.
and a number of judges across the country, and then they all strategized, and now Roe v. Wade was overturned.
Yep, I was
And
just
so,
about to say that. Now abortion gone.
yeah, yeah. So, well, the opportunity for women to make up their mind,
Yeah.
and have that discussion with their doctor or a possibly partner, that there are some limitations to that
Hmm.
because of the person who was elected and the power that he had when he did that. So I get mad when I hear people, grown folk, who say they don't vote. Um, they might get some choice words
Oh
from
yeah, I've stopped talking. I've stopped dating people for that.
I
Then for a
don't
while, and
blame
then they're
you.
like, "I don't vote," and I was like, "Oh, you sound stupid." Clearly, we
Don't
don't have
don't meet your standards.
we don't have similar beliefs. It's time to move on. But yeah, it's important, and yes, every vote counts.
Yes,
We
it
have
does.
seen enough people on the news have to sit down and count each vote one by one.
Yeah.
Each and every vote counts.
Absolutely. Just look at the state of Georgia. Look at who we sent the Senate to the U.S. Senate because there
Oh, it
was
was close too.
it was close. Hey,
I
hey,
got a little worried at the end.
I was hot. It's like I need some medication because I'm about to flip out. But because Herschel Walker, I couldn't tell if he was inebriated. But not. But we did it, and so I'm hoping other states can see that. So great topic
Thank you. Thank
that
you.
you brought up. I like talking about politics.
And
So
but and I don't, but my kid does. So now I have to get I have to catch
good for
up.
her. Good for
Yes, I
her.
know. She's gonna keep me informed.
So my topic is going to be a hard shift
Okay.
to talk about an issue. I wanted to get your thoughts about it, and hopefully there are some other therapists watching or listening, and even the general audience um, about an issue that I heard about last week on another podcast and listening to it. It was a black host, one male, one female, and they were mad at this therapist from Mississippi
Mhm.
who posted some posts on Twitter. And I mean, they were hot too. They were 38 hot about she didn't like black men. She was not providing
Oh, I
services.
remember that. Yeah, I just saw that.
So I had to go. I listened to it. I actually tried to call in to talk about it, as a therapist because they were just going off the rails
Hmm.
about what she was promoting. I didn't know anything about it. So today I want us to talk. I'm going to get your thoughts about this too, Aisha,
Okay.
about Nicole Lewis. She's a licensed clinical social worker. Let me see if I can pull this up. Share screen. There we go. Share. And I got to let it in. Add. All right. So Nicole Lewis is a licensed clinical social worker. I believe she's in Mississippi. And I want to read to you what she posted on Twitter and why a lot of people are reacting. It seems to be across gender lines, but splitting the opinions. This is Nicole Lewis. I'm no longer accepting male clients. They get in my email inbox and want me to prove why they should choose me as a therapist. No scheduled consultations or nothing to see if we are a good fit. I'm not the one or the two to prove my worth to anyone. We would not work well together because you are already trying me. And I'm not above going AWF. What is that? AWF.
Off.
I'm not.
Off.
Oh, off. Thank you. That's country. Oh,
Now I could be wrong, but that's what I heard you say.
I think you're
I think
right.
probably saying
And
going. I'm gonna go off.
and I'm not above going off on nobody. If you try me before the therapeutic relationship starts, I know you out here being a menace to folks. And that's going to activate my nervous system. So it's a wrap. That's what she said. And so I read it. I wasn't when you hear that, and you can read it too on the screen. What did you get from that, Aisha?
You unnecessarily aggressive. What time did you post that? Had you had your morning coffee? That's what I'm thinking.
This
I
is
think that all of my clients and anyone who is looking for therapy should have the right to try to figure out whether or not the therapist is going to be a good fit.
Yeah.
No one wants to keep going into someone's office and telling their as much as they can of their life story in 60 seconds just to find out that you're not a good fit. So I'm going to tell you the basics. I'm a black woman, I'm a single mother. Um, fairly educated. And if I'm talking to a therapist, I would also say, and I'm a therapist. How comfortable are you with that? Have you ever worked
Mhm.
with therapists? Have you ever worked with, black women? I don't want to talk to somebody who's who's maybe a new wife of a recently divorced man who doesn't know her place as a stepmother and is going to say something to make me cuss her out in the middle of a session. Let's find out if we're a good fit from the beginning. Like I got questions. Why waste my time or yours?
Yeah, I too get those calls. Not so many these days because I'm not doing a whole lot of counseling like I used to, but it's customary. And they interview me. And I encourage other people
Yeah.
call your therapist, have a little 10, 15-minute chat, and ask them about your issue, how much history do they have working with somebody with that type of issue, what type of counseling stance they have, you know, get a feeling whether or not it's going to be a good match. Nicole Lewis is sort of against that. She appears to be against men
Well, and that's my biggest
asking her
thing, I
that.
think. Yeah. Like, and you just basically said that all black men are the same. So because you had maybe a few in your inbox who wanted you to tell them about yourself, all black, you're not going to see any black men. So you just don't care anything about black men. And if they're really that toxic and they're seeking therapy, is that not a good thing? That maybe they want to not be so toxic?
Now
I
that's the
mean,
argument that came up through the
okay.
thread because it's a lot, it's active and it's hot,
Mhm.
and people were mad, and she's standing her ground. But I did notice that too. This advertisement that you're not welcome in my counseling office, and letting people know I'm not here to serve you. But she is apparently doing some wonderful things for Black women. She has some type of membership program where she's providing ongoing services for Black women. I believe it's some type of online group thing. She's doing well with that. So that's her specialty.
But still, as a black woman who works with a lot of not just black women, but majority of my clients are women of color, different colors.
Yep.
What are you talking about? Is it a black man hater group? Like, I don't want to put that out into the women that I
And
work
she
with. I
never
don't.
said that. She never
Okay.
said that. But what her rationale is, I read a lot of the she responded to a lot of the comments.
Oh, okay.
She has the right to choose her specialty and set her boundaries.
Boom. But you do not have the right to exhibit bias towards clients. That is in our ACA code of ethics. You can't turn people away because of your strongly held beliefs about certain groups of people.
So people they brought that up,
Okay.
and people actually called the state licensure board
Uh-oh.
on her. That came up in the thread too, and reporting her, and she's like, "Oh, y'all mad?" So I mean, she got some spice. Hey, I'm happy for you, sister. But we've talked about this before in another show. Don't hurt your
Right.
brand. Don't don't
Look
hurt.
at Shabri. That was her name, Bree on TikTok,
Yep.
who
She
did
lost her
that rant
job. Yep.
and still didn't working. I went and checked on her TikTok just the other day just to see how she was doing.
I hope she's doing well.
Nope, it looks like things are still going downhill. She gets on just to cuss a little bit and say, "I'm still taking a break," and Mel's shoots a bird
So
and go.
Nicole
And it's
Lewis
been a
is a
year now.
little bit like that. So the
Okay.
question I have for you, as I was examining both sides, some people are overreacting, to her comments, and people just pointing out what you just said, this bias, and you're letting everybody know, this is against your ethics. And then there are people standing by her, yeah, therapists. You have the right to choose a specialty and to protect your own boundaries that you have. She also revealed that she recently reunited with her father, who she hadn't seen in a while. She revealed all this stuff,
Okay,
and
well, okay. We
and,
just don't do all
and
this
then
self
all of a
disclosure too.
sudden, I couldn't find it. I saw it last night. She posted, "My dad is calling me, and I'm ignoring his calls and texts. Reciprocity." I'm like, what?
Trying to catch up for lost time for all
Like,
the times you ignored me.
yeah, and she posted that.
Are you getting
Uh,
your own therapy, sis?
and so people are acknowledging some of those unhealthy comments that she's putting out there. And so, what I wanted to ask you though, because I'm just trying to get a feel about how other people feel about it. Does she have the right to create those boundaries in her counseling practice and specialize in helping Black women, or is she wrong for excluding a big part of the community and letting it be known, y'all guys, you're not welcome here? What do you think about that?
I think that all therapists have the right to have a specialty, and we can always refer out for people who we think would be better served by other therapists. That doesn't mean that I'm just not taking, like, I would never have in my email not accepting white women. I've
Okay.
had issues with white female clients before. Not all of them. I've had three that had a great relationship with. But if there's anyone who's ever filed a complaint on me, it was mostly and not a licensure complaint, but complaints in the schools, complaints anywhere. This
I
has been
see.
mostly white women, but I'm not going to say I'm not accepting white women. I'm tired of y'all testing my gangster. You're not going to like me and my style. Let me go ahead and refer you out to one of my white female colleagues who
And put that
understands the
out there
way
on
y'all
Twitter.
communicate.
I can't imagine you putting anything like that on Twitter. But imagine if Nicole Lewis was white.
Well, and I want her to be able to be authentic, but at what point is your authenticity contributing to the issues within Black culture? At what point is your authenticity toxic to our people?
Yeah. Yeah. And examine, I'm with you, and examine your reasons for only seeing women or black women and advertising that.
Hmm.
And what's the root behind that? I have all clients. The bulk of my clients are black men. The black women would be second, and then white men. I don't have a whole lot of white women um, calling me, but I would never put out there, I'm not seeing white women for clients. Don't
Well,
call me. Y'all just get in my inbox and you want me to prove myself to be. It's,
well,
what?
on the same wavelength, I would never want Nicole to see a Black man. At this point, I think Nicole might be dangerous to Black men. There would be way too many issues with what we call countertransference.
Yeah.
Sounds like in her life, she has had and maybe is having issues with Black men. She'll have a Black man in front of her on a computer or across from her desk in another
Yeah.
chair, and she may
Yeah.
start saying something to them that she wishes she could or would have said to the Black men in her life who she doesn't like. It's only going to take one time for them to do something that triggers her, and then
Yep.
she's going to lose her license easily.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's going to
So
be
some of
triggered.
the comments from men, and they appear to be black men. Thank you
Mhm.
for warning us. You know, thank,
Okay.
thank you for letting other black men in your area know. I believe it's outside of Jackson. Know that you're not the one. So it was a hot topic. Lots of comments. This other podcaster was talking about it. He was hot. He was heated. He went a little bit too far, with his comments, though. But I wanted to get your reaction to it because I'm convinced some of these therapists with their own private practice or their jobs, I don't think they understand brand management. Um,
And she might, I don't know how well her practice is doing, but that's a very good point, Harrison. Like 10 years down the line, when you haven't grown to a group practice and it's still just you and you're still, having to work 80 hours a week to pay your house note on, a little one
yep,
bedroom condo, it'll be because of a post you made on Twitter
yeah,
a decade earlier.
a horrible post at that. I mean, Nicole, you could have kept that to yourself, or you could have found a better way to communicate your specialty to people. But she's coming back strong too. I mean, she's standing her ground. I wish you luck. I don't know the tone, of the whole thing, and so some of the people in the thread indicate that this is a wider issue
Hmm.
um, that's going on within the black community about men and black women and this tension that exists
Then we
between
kind of talked about that a little bit with what is it, the whatever brothers, passport bros or something.
yeah,
Forgot.
passport bros and the other guy. He was a popular podcaster, but he died last
Oh yeah,
year.
yeah. Hmm.
I forgot his name, and so I don't know what it is, but if I was her supervisor, clinical supervisor, I would I would have suggested we rethink this type of thing and advertising it. Coincidentally, I had a supervisee I was doing clinical supervision, postmaster's clinical supervision meeting weekly to talk about her clients, her case. She told me, she's a black woman, she didn't want any male clients. I was like, why? What's the problem? We talked about it a little bit. She explained some of her reasons, and I told her, you're gonna have to see some men. You're not gonna limit yourself for this personal reason, whatever that might be. You need to go handle that, because that has nothing to do with some of those men who are calling you. She didn't like it. She got mad. She saw a couple of male clients. Everything went well, So Nicole Lewis should be glad I'm not her supervisor. I would tell, no, you're going to see some men. If they call you and you can handle their issue, just like you would a black woman, then you're going to see them. We're not going to limit what you do. You can still indicate your specialty, but this tone, this energy, I don't know, it just doesn't seem therapeutic at all.
I think it's the energy that's an issue for me. It seems like energy I would have had around the age of 25. Maybe she's young. That's
Maybe so, but she's fully licensed.
okay.
She's a fully licensed mental health professional, popping out of the box like this. I just hope she thinks about her brand, her career, her practice, and how you want people to view you. Will you get some new clients, some black women? You possibly
You
will.
might. Pop off might be your brand. Pop
Yeah,
off then.
But alienating others, and like you said, exhibiting some bias. I just didn't know about that. But I'm not going overboard like some of the comments that I saw. I mean, they were tearing her up, but she came back. All of this on Twitter. So I just wanted to bring that up and get your thoughts.
I mean, in the end, if she won't take them, that's fine. I know plenty of other people who will accept black male clients, and the black men are like, "Thank you for letting us know." So, like I said, they don't come
Yep.
into your office and you go messing them up because you're messed up.
Yeah, but it sounds like you're mad because the male clients are questioning you
Right.
about how can you help me when I get those phone calls all the time. But she doesn't like it, so she's triggered. She said her nervous system.
She said no consultation, no scheduling the consultation. Maybe they don't know that's a thing. Maybe your response should be, well, you can schedule a consultation by using whatever link here, and we could talk about it more. I'm not just gonna go back. Now, I'm not gonna go back and forth in my email trying to sell myself to you,
True.
but you have to schedule a consultation anyway. Just come up with you a standard response. I have standard responses to most things.
Yeah,
they're all in my notes on my cell phone. Copy, paste, send.
That's a good idea. For all that energy, she might have also lost some possible female clients too. So that's my hot topic. Want to see what you thought about that.
Just, everybody, different strokes for different folks, just like the passport bros. If maybe she's not the therapist for you, just find you. There are plenty of good ones out there. And if there aren't a lot for you out there, I promise we're working really hard to make more. It's the best we could do.
Yeah, I guess I'm also just disappointed that a licensed therapist, she's not a professional counselor, but a clinical social worker, will put out that type of communication to people.
And I'm glad she's a social worker. I was like, whew, glad she's not an LPC, because that last one was an LPC.
Yeah.
That's on y'all social workers. That's y'all's problem. Just like when people tell me about their organizations, that's not my organization.
That's your issue. But a lot of the comments were about, this is why I don't go to therapy. This is what it's like. I'm like, damn, you hurting the rest of us, with your own personal issues that you have with your daddy. I hope you figure it out. I hope you resolve it and heal. But how are you going to help these women when you out here playing these games with your own daddy and you posting it online?
Well, I mean, her daddy might go to therapy and his therapist tell him to move on. You tried. Then she'll just be mad again.
That's one of my hot topics. Do you have another one?
No. I think that's enough for tonight. I'm gonna go on Twitter and read the whole thread and see what else is going on.
Is there Nicole Lewis? And
I wrote it down. I'm gonna find.
She's hot. Just type in Nicole Lewis LCSW Twitter.
I hope you got the likes you wanted too. The likes and the shares. I hope you got that internet fame you wanted right quick too.
There was actually an article on her. I think it was the APA newsletter.
Oh,
it was an article about it. So she's popular. She got the spotlight.
There you go.
That you
enjoy
wanted.
it. So, and I hope that spotlight stays clear. and doesn't
I,
turn into something you don't want it to be.
I hope she appreciates it 5, 10 years from now.
Right.
Is what I really hope. So thank you for your comments and your questions. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode of Two Therapists and a Microphone. I am Dr. Harrison Davis.
And I'm Dr. Aisha Dickerson.
We will see you guys next week, Monday evening at 7:00 p.m. on the Our Black Media Network. See you then.
I like that.